Everybody knows the Mario Bros. You could see the worst drawing of Mario and Luigi, and you still be able to tell it's them. That being said, I don't know why they're called the Mario Bros, because Luigi is clearly better. You know how I know Luigi's better? It's because he got his own year. I mean, we can just ignore Nintendo's stock price that year. We haven't even talked about Luigi's game, such classics as Mario's Missing and... Oh yeah, and this little series about him exploring a mansion, which I'm sure nothing bad happens at all. Anyways, Luigi's Mansion is a classic GameCube game and got revived in 2013, which is the first game I played of the series. Luigi's Mansion was Luigi's first actual game being the main protagonist, and is really different from any other Mario game. Luigi here finds himself in a haunted location of new kinds of ghosts everywhere, and is the best vacuum of all time with the greatest method of opening chests too. Recently, I went back to play the first game, and tried on a completely legal copy of the game, of course. And it's one of the best GameCube games I've ever played. What makes Luigi's Mansion so good is the atmosphere and the characters. The only reused characters in Luigi's Mansion are Luigi, of course, Mario, and the Toads, and they don't even overuse the Toads like they do in the new Mario RPG games. The main new characters are the portrait ghosts. Think of these as like the mini-bosses, even though a few of them are probably considered actual bosses. My favorite ones are probably the dog, the twins, the fortune teller, and Uncle Grimly. Uncle Grimly is the coolest one because he's just living his life when E-Gadd decides that he has to die again. There are 4 levels of the mansion. The floors are themed kinda similar to one another, but it's more in different hallways that matter. What I like about the mansion is it feels like it'd be a real place, except for maybe the secret rooms and the fake doors. Yeah, they're fake doors that if you try and open it, it slams into the wall and takes a good part of your health. And losing health is a problem because there isn't many ways to get health in this game, but it never feels unfair. If you just look at your map, you'll never fall for a fake door. The final boss in this game is really interesting too. You get to see Bowser with his head on backwards, and if you get to die, you get to see this great nightmare fuel. The one thing I didn't really like about this game is the boos. There's 50 of them in the mansion, which is fine, but the annoying part is they can switch rooms. So you'll be halfway through capturing one, then all of a sudden those fly through a wall. Even in rooms that you haven't even unlocked yet, or secret rooms. But I was trying to play through this game without a walkthrough, so I couldn't find 2 of the boos, because they went in secret rooms I didn't know how to get into. But besides that little hiccup, Luigi's Mansion is a very good game. Yo, really quick, if you do me a favor, like and subscribe, because I spent like a month on this. Also look at the percentages, so like you better subscribe. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon Time. Does it live up to the first game? Mostly, yeah. When I say mostly, because unlike the first game, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon has a mission-based system instead of a more open-world type of the first game. The first game wasn't completely open. There were acts, but didn't really feel like it, because there was only 4 of them, so they only pulled you out 4 times. Where in the 3DS, you get pulled out of each mansion like every 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how good you are. Yes, you heard me right. Whichever mansion you're in. There are 5 different smaller mansions instead of the 1 giant one in the first game. Well, that does add more variety to locations. I still prefer the original's 1 location system, and thought it was able to mix it up enough and keep it fresh for me to keep playing for this ridiculous amount of time. How they added more variety works better in the 3rd game anyways too, in my opinion. I'll talk about that more later. Anyways, let's talk about the actual gameplay and the locations now. Starting off with the Gloomy Manor, which is kind of like the first game's mansion, but a lot smaller and more sectioned off between the missions. And don't forget the cobwebs everywhere, because the main boss is a giant spider. In this area, you get 2 new mechanics. They are the charge light, and that's how you stun ghosts, and the dark light device, which reveals invisible objects and footprints. As I said earlier, the first major boss is a giant spider, which is actually like all the other bosses in this game, just a ghost with a dark moon piece in it. The dark moon piece doesn't really mean anything, it's just for the story. So basically the dark moon is an excuse for the game to happen. The last major addition to Luigi's moveset is him being able to pull back ghosts and take on a major part of their health. The really annoying part of this game is when you're just trying to explore the different locations. And if you go outside where the game wants you to, E-Gadd will give you a call, tells you to get back on track. But like, just let me explore. I want to spend time walking around to get a feel for the place. But since the game is on a handheld system, Nintendo needed to simplify the game. It isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's just kind of annoying. Second location is Haunted Towers, which is 2 towers between a giant tree. I actually really like this location. There's 5 floors, but it kind of sucks because 2 of them are just stairways. So realistically, there's only 3 floors. And only 2 if you don't count the top floor, because that's only 2 rooms. I think it's a really good spot for like a full game to take place if they just fleshed out more. The old clock tower is the next location, is Abandoned Factory, which the concept is really cool. But like all the locations, it's too small to fully realize the concept. Plus the 3rd game does the sand location better, so not a bad idea, but it's just kind of weak. The secret mine is the shortest mansion, if you can even call it that in the game, but it's the best boss fight. It's an on-the-rail shooter. It uses motion controls of the 3DS, and it works really well. The last spot is the Treacherous Mansion, which happens to be the largest mansion too. The main gimmick is the portals that you use to get around the place, a whole 6 floors to explore, and it kind of brings back the feel of the first game, and I really like it because it also doesn't hold back punches. I wouldn't say it's super hard, but you're not just going to walk through it like it's nothing. Overall, Dark Moon is a fun game with some restrictions because it's on a handheld. Still really enjoyable though. Time for Luigi 3, and I really like this game. This game kind of merges the previous two, but mainly the first game. The location here is a giant hotel, which every floor is different from the other. Plus this game is just gorgeous. The animation, the art style, the lighting, everything is just great. This game just screams passion. The story is definitely the weakest part, but it doesn't really matter, because this game doesn't really need the best story. Basically, the crew gets invited to the hotel. There's all these ghosts in a bad disguise, so the Mario crew can't tell that they're ghosts, but it's really obvious. They go to sleep and Luigi wakes up to Peach screaming, and oh no, the hotel is haunted and everybody is trapped in paintings. Mario for the third time. And here's King Boo. Run for your life now. There are 3 major new moves here. The jump, which is you jump over certain attacks and push ghosts away, and is used in some puzzles. The plunger, which is used for mostly puzzles, but you can also remove armor from ghosts. And finally, the biggest and the weirdest addition, Gooigi, which is a slime Luigi, and if you think about it for too long, it's really weird because Luigi passes out every single time Gooigi is deployed. Quick side tangent, the Boo names in this game are just hilarious. My favorites, obviously, Booigi, Booigi, Boo at Arms, Booducer, Boons, and Boo Footwear. There are only 16 Boos in this game, but it doesn't matter because all the names are so good, and they're really fun to fight because you can just spam the attack button. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that you can slam ghosts on the ground now, and they do a lot of damage to the ghosts that you're like slamming on the ground, and you can attack other ghosts too. And there's 17 floors, and I don't feel like wasting all your time, so I'm just going to list my favorites. The floor 6 through 10 is probably my favorite run in the game. Floor 6 is a cool boss fight, and the castle theme is fun. They basically use the same puzzle over and over again. Floor 7 is a garden theme. Could you tell by the name? There's a giant flower in the middle of the room that reminds me of the Haunted Towers from the second game for some reason. They give Luigi a chainsaw, and it's a little too fun to use. Floor 8 is the best floor in the game. It's a movie set. And when you first walk in, you think you're going to have to fight the director, but actually he's completely friendly. He just wants to make a movie. So you become the star of his movie, and the boss fight is just shot like a movie. The best part is you don't even have to kill him if you don't want to, but I did because you get an achievement. Floor 9 is a museum, and I really like that the skeleton moves with the lightning. Yep, that's all it took to get in here. I guess the rest of the floor is pretty cool too, all the other one hallway. And finally floor 10, and hey, that's just the old clock tower, but cooler because there's sand physics for every grain of sand. That's right, every grain. There's a lot of cool puzzles they do with it too. And then a pyramid instead of a factory, so that's instantly cooler. The boss fight also makes a lot more sense for a desert. There's 6 gems in every floor, and you find the first one or second one pretty easily. The rest you kind of have to go back and search and do a puzzle to get. If you get all the gems in the game, you get a new plunger, which is pretty cool. If I had to rank all the Luigi's Mansion games, I'd have Luigi's Mansion 1 would be an A tier on a tier list, Dark Moon would be a B, and the third game would be an S. I don't have anything else to say, so like and subscribe and go follow the Twitch. The link's in the description.